My name is Bob, and I am an appliantologist, and I'm here to give you a little bit of insight into the arcane and occulted world of appliance repair. An area where Google makes people think they know an awful lot more than they actually do, and where, despite human replacement in the workforce, there's still a great need for people who can use their own brains to solve problems and to fix things so that people can have their robots and have the robots take care of them. Somebody has to take care of the robots. So I've been doing this for well over 30 years. I grew up in a family, I'm the oldest of 12 children. The first time I saw or thought about appliances, I snuck out of bed one night in the middle of the night, and my dad was in the basement working on some washers and dryers to sell in the newspaper so that he could make some money. I was probably 3 or 4 years old, and I was fascinated, peering over, hiding from behind the corner, watching him work into the late hours of the night. When I was about 5 or 6, I started going to work with my father every single day during the summer, and Saturdays during the school year. I would try to be useful around the shop, cleaning things up, going and fetching tools, and learning as we went more and more about how different appliances and systems operate. It was like I said, it was a family business, and it fed all 12 of us pretty well. We would get trailer loads full of used, broken appliances, process them, fix them, and then put them up for sale. We had a nice little storefront, and I had many years of child slave labor that I was put through without being paid. But that's what they call sweat equity. So what makes appliance repair valuable or interesting? Every one of us uses appliances every day to make our lives easier. If you want to have clean clothes, if you want to have crisp, cold milk in the morning, if you want to cook your dinner at night, you need to use appliances. There's a number of different reasons why pursuing a career in an industry like this might be attractive to you. If you like solving problems, if you like continuous learning, new challenges, and if you like a little bit of autonomy and self-accountability, if you have traits that sort of align with that, this or something like this in the future might be worth looking into. The really great thing about doing appliance repairs, I can get easily bored with life. However, every year there's multiple new systems, multiple new appliances that you need to be able to decode and analyze and figure out with limited resources to help you understand how those systems are built and designed. So you need a core. At the core, you need a problem-solving brain and sort of an independent spirit that can be self-directed, and a desire to be willing to commit to get to the bottom of a problem, no matter how tangled up in the weeds you might feel like you are and how lost you are. If you have a drive to push through challenges, this would be an interesting field. So if you're a little bit introverted, if you like intellectual stimulation and you like a good challenge, appliance repair is a good way to go. It's not like you're completely isolated from people. You get to deal with new people, multiple new people every single day. You get to see different people's homes, how they live differently from you. You get to have interesting interactions. That's sort of at your level of comfortability. You can engage with people more or less, or just get to your work. There's a great deal of satisfaction in seeing the direct results of your effort day in and day out, and to be able to see how your effort, your work has made a meaningful impact, positive impact on other people's lives, helping them to get through their day. You get to use a lot of interesting tools, and like I said, as far as variety, there's literally, if you like systems thinking, understanding complex interconnected systems, and having problem solved through seeing how different aspects of the systems impact others and being able to work through that. You get lots of neat tools. This is my handy dandy backpack. I carry it around into 6 or 7 houses every day. It has my basic necessities for work. I also have a lot more tools that I keep and carry in my hand. If you have any questions about any of these tools during the question and answer section, you may feel free to inquire. I brought a few examples of some of the stuff you see in the field, some things that might seem familiar and some that might seem less common. Some control boards, an ice maker, a fuse, and some valve coils. I brought some meters you can play with if you like. I brought a couple of examples of proprietary sort of assistance, which gives you a little bit more insight into meeting a machine that you're not familiar with and the limited amount of information that they give you to try and solve it. But that might be of interest, or if you have any questions about that stuff, you guys will be able to check it out. That's constant. Yeah. It's really fun. Yeah, I think as far as moving into the future with modernization and the continued absorption of our humanity and beingness being consumed by the machine, learning how to be productive, to keep those machines running, can be make you a valuable asset to others and give you some sense of security that you'll be able to contribute something to society. That's just one path, of course. We need a lot of other things, but there you go. Appliance repair.
Yay!
We have questions. You said learning on the job, but some of it's very tactile, or
I think just having an inquisitive mind, trying and pursuing, like I said, complex systems and trying to figure out how they function. And when something's wrong, being able to identify where the problem is. It's not necessarily, they don't have many opportunities in the school system to be able to train you for a field like this. It draws upon a lot of different skill sets. So you need a little bit of electrical, a little bit of plumbing, a little bit, but mostly it's as I keep hammering on, it's about your problem-solving drive and ability with complex systems. So There are a couple of places around the country where they offer courses for specific appliance repair, aspects of appliance repair. I can only think of 2 or 3 in the whole entire country, other than getting real hands-on experience. There's I'm trying to think of in the conventional school system what they would offer that if there's any small electronics classes. I know some schools do have those. I'm sure Tolly has something like that. Understanding how to read circuits, to use the instruments, and to analyze how those function and operate, and being able to test the viability of different components. But first and foremost, like I said, a will and a drive to solve problems and understand complex systems is really the core asset that you need to bring to the table. And other than that, it's the willingness to humble yourself and learn and hold yourself accountable. Their engineers are either not helpful or their information is very limited. So oftentimes you're not supplied with the ideal amount of basic information on a system that really preferred. Crazy people is a big challenge.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes
I don't know if I want to know what the crazy
Right. You go in people's homes, of course, and then you know they've got you.
you never know what you're going to see.
Oh boy.
And some people just never throw anything away, so you have to carve a path through. I enjoy, even though it is a challenge, because it's scary and you don't know what they're going to do. Usually we find a way to survive, and
Tumble back.
a lot of people, the way that you present yourself and your reputation matters a great deal. People need to feel that they can trust you to live in their home environment. So it is good if you have some basic social skills and some charm and some persuasive arts.
What are like the most common things that you face as far as repair goes?
Just every single day, there's a new challenge. There's a new problem. That's that. My whole life is nothing but problem. I'm good at fixing. But the washers, dryers, refrigerators, microwaves, dishwashers, ovens, ranges, all the basic stuff that you're gonna have in your home.
Okay. Not like a common washing machine problem that you see a lot of. Or...
Nope. Everything is deteriorating, and integrity is collapsing across the board. So everything tends to break.
Okay.
You can always rely on something working.
Right.
So you got a job for life then.
Yep.
Yep. It's either they have it repaired or get a new one. So you're just trying to decide, do I want to spend that extra to get a new one, or just keep repairing this very reliable model that's been working for decades?
Well, that was leading into that question. So have you advised people, is it better to hang on to the old stuff
Yeah.
versus getting a newer upgrade?
That's part of what we aim to deliver with our company is, honest, reliable, sincere service and advice. So having many years of industry experience, I have a lot of unique insight into different platforms and designs and quality, integrity, and projected lifespan. And I'm always pretty honest with my clients to help give them all the information they need to make the most informed decision that's going to be best for them. Ultimately, it's a decision that they need to make. I just supply everything for them to make a good decision. And whether or not they see the value in the repair or in getting something. And with modern manufacturing design, new is not always better. Sometimes hanging on to an older machine will outlive a brand new machine in some cases.
Would you say the same as a refurbished? Like if you could find an old one that's been refurbished, maybe it's still better than getting a new one?
Yes, but it's somewhat specific. Which is why that experience really helps to provide that value of insight and guidance, because there's a lot of nuance and a lot of subtlety and distinction between quality and value and that hierarchy of measuring.
Right.
Whereas, and then it also depends on what the client's need is. Are they looking purely for convenience? They don't want to have to go out to the store and buy something and have to have somebody come in and tear up the floor, putting a new one in, or that convenience is valuable. If for somebody, if you get on the phone, you wake up and your washing machine is full of dirty water and clothes, and it's not working, and you make a phone call and somebody comes out to your house and fixes it on the spot. That's where a lot of the value lies, is in the immediate response and convenience, rather than, like I said, having to go out, go shopping, make a decision, invite other people into your home to deliver it, and having to move everything out of the way to be able to get it into the place. Sometimes there's a lot more value in just get it fixed, I need it now, or I don't want the hassle.
Yeah. And I guess the other thing I want to emphasize is because they're not working for anyone, it's a business, and the homeschool mentality, what is great about it is you don't have to go in and a set time. There's a lot of freedom then, instead of going to school, right, sitting down at a desk and just slaving away. So if you're good at something, find something like that and make a business out of it. That's an idea.
Yeah, you get a lot more freedom, and being a small independent operation, community is important. Getting to know your cultivating a relationship, trust, but the independence and being able to reap more of the harvest, taking the lion's share, that's also very important. And that flexibility is extremely valuable if you're raising a family and you want to be able to make time to be able to spend time.
Where would you recommend to live yourself?
I'm not a good person to ask about that. I'm the rugged, learn it yourself through sweat and blood and tears, crawling through a sea of bones, surviving the underworld, trouble and risk.
Well, you were fortunate that your dad was this, but if we don't all have the opportunity to know somebody who does the business, and I know that you just kind of answered that as you wouldn't necessarily suggest a school, but it sounds like what you were recommending earlier, if you can find some classes.
You can, yeah, like I was saying, it's this field is so sort of unique and set apart from a lot of more standardized industries. So there's a wide degree of variation between manufacturers, between the different types of systems that you have to work on. That what you would be looking for is some basic electronic skills, which any technical school should offer a basic electronics and circuitry. You can do independent study. There's a lot of resources online now that you can educate yourself with. You can start off with something simple like snap circuits. I don't know if you've ever seen those kits. It teaches you basic electronics and the different types of circuits.
would you recommend an apprenticeship and just going to somebody and volunteering?
The only way to really gain mastery in this field is through actually doing the work, getting your hands on the product, being willing to make mistakes, and learning from those mistakes. Actually problem solving, basic electronics, and a desire to learn and overcome. That's the basic education that you would need.
Wants to get into this like trade.
How old are you?
I'm 16.
16. I would say do some independent study, get yourself familiar with basic electronics and circuitry and how circuits work, and being able to identify problems within circuit systems. Learn how to read a wiring diagram, and then you would more than likely end up starting off really not being able to receive much of an income at the start, because you need the training, and the training is in the field. But you would want to apply or talk to somebody who's in the appliance industry and see if you can tag along. And that would be the best ways, is finding someone that you trust, that you can follow around, go to work with them, go on their calls for a period of time to see what it's all about, and whether you feel that you have enough interest and aptitude to pick it up. And yeah, I think it's one of those, you have to be brave enough to go get your feet wet and put in a little bit of time on the front end to explore it and test yourself, whether you feel you have what you need, whether you have the interest and the desire. Because, like I said, a lot of what you need for this field is really learned on the fly. That's what I would recommend, is finding somebody to tag along with, and they can instruct you throughout the course of the day, explain what they're doing. You can go with them for a couple weeks or a couple of months. It would take a few months to really get a basic sense of it, and then make your decision from there. You'd be able to slowly be incorporated into the repair process, allowed to do different things, or explore and solve problems on your own with a mentor. And then once you get the basic knack, then you can start to take things on yourself. Brought this test meter. It's an amp and voltmeter. You can measure what kind of current flow you're having in a circuit or in a machine, and the load that it draws. Using these tools. This is an older, kind of cool looking digital multimeter with the connect on amp meter. This is an LG ice maker.
It makes ice.
Makes ice. This is a GE refrigerator control board. It has a bunch of different components, relays, transformers, more than meets the eye. Drop this because I won't drop it. And even on an ice maker, you wouldn't think that you need all of these components, but on these newer machines, they've integrated a lot of, I believe, unnecessary technology. But this has a whole little dedicated circuit board of its own, which operates and regulates the functions, measures the temperatures in the ice mold, controls the drive motor, sensor arm, which drops and moves and senses how much ice is in the bucket, and a heater. This is, like I said, over-designed, I believe. It's not really necessary. It used to require just a basic timing circuit. This is an interface control for a washing machine. You can see how underneath the facade, this is where your dial would be, and the different selection buttons. And it has a 2-board. Here's some examples of the proprietary information, basically your assistive resources that, if you're lucky, you'll have available to you on any given product. And you get to the secret codes in some cases, wiring diagrams, some basic flow charts or instructions on aspects of the machine's function. These are valve coils from a gas dryer. These work in series, and they open and let the gas come through for ignition once it senses that the igniter has provided enough heat for the gas to actually ignite, so that you aren't spilling gas out into the environment freely, unregulated. So it's sort of a two-coil system for safety purposes. This is a temperature level thermostat. It measures whether or not you have too much heat in the dryer, or if there's a dryer fire, which does happen from time to time. Lint can build up and cause people's homes to burn down because they didn't clean out their dryer. So that's a safety thermostat or fuse. And one way you would use your test meter to check this particular component, you'd be looking for continuity, which is basically this meter will send a micro signal, or attempt to send a micro signal through a circuit, and will sense whether it's actually connected throughout. So this internal fuse would be totally connected. If it was, it would get a beep signal, and I have 1.5 ohms, which is a metric for measuring the degree of continuity and resistance in whatever medium you're measuring through. You can even get continuity by poking your own hands. You should be able to get some resistance through your body's micro electric. I think a low volt, I think it's like 3 volts. I think 3.5 volts the human body is operating on. DC current. So our own
We're all electric,
field that we have, you can get a little bit of a blip. I'm sure there's instruments that do a much finer job of actually providing more accurate information.
Any other questions? Well, thank you. Appreciate your time and learning. Oh my gosh, there's a lot.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to encapsulate and really be specific about what's entailed and what you actually need, because it's so diverse.
Sounds like it.
So you have to be very adaptable, creative, and problem solving oriented. You need somebody who knows how to fix the robots.